How does scent affect taste? How does scent affect our taste? Have you ever been in a vehicle with someone who was eating something that smelled really good? Or been anywhere where there was a lot of overpowering smell? Then tried to eat something of your own, but it tasted off? This put a question into my head: if we could trick our brain into thinking we were eating something else with only the smell of it. For my psychology experiment, I tested if we could trick our minds into thinking we were eating something else. I would attempt this by having volunteers inhale a scent of something, rate it on a scale from 1 to 5, then eat a cracker while smelling the same smell, then rate the taste on a scale from 1 to 5. I kept track of the results, and these are what they were. The results. Volunteer was 9 years old. Their total was 37. Volunteer 2 was 47 years old. Their total was 26. Volunteer 3 was 43 years old, and their total was 34. Volunteer 4 was 16 years old. Their total was 45. Volunteer 5 was 44 years old, total of 23. The average rating for the cracker was 4. The average for cinnamon was 4.2. For a cinnamon and a cracker, it was 3.6. For a smell of vanilla, it was 3. For a smell of vanilla and a cracker, it was 4.2. For a smell of eggs, it was 2. For a smell of eggs with a cracker, it was also 2. For a smell of banana, it was 3.8. For a smell of banana with a cracker, it was 3.4. For a smell of vinegar, it was 1.6. For a smell of vinegar with a cracker, it was 1.2. Why were these the results? When you look at the average of the results, you will most likely see that when the base smell is rated higher than or close to the cracker, eating the cracker with the smell lowers the rating. Also, when the smell is rated lower than or close to the cracker, eating it with the cracker raises the rating. I believe that we did trick our senses into thinking that it was something else most of the time, judging how the ratings were closer to the original smell than the cracker. However, there still is one factor that I believe slightly broke the illusion for our brains: the texture. If the smell was better than the cracker, eating it with the cracker would lower it because it reminds your brain that it's not actually eating it. This could also be said for the opposite, if the smell was rated lower than the cracker. One thing for certain is that everyone had different numbers for different foods. Sometimes the difference is minor, and sometimes it is drastic. But nobody had the same number, and you could see that the closer someone's age was, the closer their total number was. Why do people prefer different foods? Our preferences on food are developed when we are born. Babies tend to prefer a sweeter palate, but as we get older, our tastes begin to fade. Some of the foods you prefer are based on different types of food you try as a child. It is much harder to teach yourself to like healthier foods as a child than as an adult, because as an adult, your taste buds don't expand the taste as much, so you can push yourself to try new things. So the main factor deciding on which foods you prefer in your life is what you eat as a child. And as you get older, you can push yourself to like more foods, mainly healthier ones. These are my references.